Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us. K&A Custom Crafts on Facebook.
All right, everybody, welcome to the second show. You thought we wouldn't get through the first, didn't you? Welcome to Entertainment Hour here on the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. It's a lot to say. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe, and put in the notification bell so you can comment in and watch whenever you want on all the shows during the week. We got stuff for everybody and everything, literally. Other from a couple of things, but I'm James, of course. Chris B. Bacon is, of course, on the top left square here. Hollywood Squares. X gets a spot. How are you, Chris?
Doing good. Yeah, another week, another show. Hope you guys enjoyed the first one, and we're back for another one.
And then below us, but not below us, is Dragon Viper, and I love the quote down below. You know my name. I hope I do. Circle gets a square. How are you?
I'm doing good. You know, everybody should know my name by now. So, but yeah, I'm doing good. Just looking forward to this show, and hopefully right after I get to go to bed.
That's the goal for all of us, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, be sure to follow us on our little headers right here. You know, on our social medias, and then of course on Coast to Coast. So one thing, you know, I was prepping last week, and just one story I did not get to, which I feel ashamed about, was Matthew Perry's death. Now, we knew him from, of course, the TV show Friends, some movies, but mostly from Friends. And it kind of hit me a little different because I never really enjoyed the show Friends. Like, I've seen bits and pieces, I get it. But that show was put in basically to put out all those great SNL guys in the 90s there. So I always had a bad thing for Friends, but I knew that he was beloved on the cast. I knew that. The last thing he did, you know, talking about his career, was The Kennedys After Camelot. It was a TV miniseries back in 2017. He was on The Odd Couple on CBS as they brought that show back, among others. A Good Wife. And then he was on his own show, I think, on ABC called Mr. Sunshine. He ran like a sports team. That show lasted, I think, one season, I want to say. Other movies he did: 17 Again, Numb, Scrubs. He was in that show for one episode. The West Wing, I never knew. Ally McBeal for a couple episodes. The Simpsons, he was part of one episode there in 01. He was in The Kid, the whole 9 yards. Almost Heroes. Fools Rush In was one movie that I can remember him from, but of course I never seen it. The Rembrandt's I'll Be There For You video that had the whole Friends cast in it, of course. But it's funny to see him start off as a kid. He started off in this one TV series called 240 Robert in 1979. So he must have been a wee little lad there. Charles in Charge, Tracy Ullman Show, which I really liked back then and still now. But I'll go with you first, Chris. What will you remember about Matthew Perry?
Probably like you. I mean, I watched bits and pieces of Friends, but I'm kind of looking, you know, through his, you know, kind of like what he did in television. He was, you know, of course in Friends, but he also did Beverly Hills 90210, Scrubs. He was in the reboot of, I had it just a second, of The Odd Couple, and a couple others. He was part of the reunion of Friends. I mean, he had a good career. You know, he did a lot. It was just, you know, like we said off air, just, you know, sad the way things had to end.
Yeah, and Laura Graham, she was in a lot of movies and television shows. She recalled him being really happy before he died, and it was real tragic when you think about it. There's additional investigations going on, but he drowned in his hot tub in his LA home, and it was just really, really unfortunate to hear about. The Friends cast, you know, I believe most of them have come out and said something, if not all of them. But Dragon Viper, how will you remember the actor from Connecticut or Massachusetts? I want to say the Canadian Matthew Perry.
You know, I know he's even said in the past, you know, if he ever dies, he doesn't want to be remembered for Friends. But you know that between Friends and 17 Again are the only two places I ever saw him, you know, acting. And I did see all of the seasons of Friends, and you know, I kind of consider myself a little bit of a Matthew Perry person too. Kind of goofy and things like that. So you know, he is going to be missed. He was a wonderful actor. He was, you know, great at what he did, and a pretty funny guy. So I mean, he nailed it. And honestly, you know, I've read certain stories about, you know, this person would have played this this character on this show, and you know, so on. And I don't think anybody could have done what Matthew Perry did on Friends as Chandler Bing. So um, excellent actor. And yeah, it's bad to see him go.
Yeah, and then there was another passing. Dex Carvey, the son of Dana Carvey. Now, I'm a big SNL guy from the past, and so that kind of hurt. Thinking about what Dana is going through right now. You know, he was 32 years old. He died of a overdose, and it's just something that you really have to watch out for. Try not to get hooked on, of course, but so our thoughts, of course, are with the Carvey family. They're up, of course, in the Bay Area. Um, you know, I think everybody shares that same sentiment. Excuse me. There. We'll move on to some strange news. I mean, this one is like, wait, this one is peanut butter and jelly. This one is, you know, rice and butter, ocean and sand. You know, Snoop Dogg and marijuana. It's always been a thing. I know that this is entertainment news. I mean, this really is. So, the legendary rapper, and he's done so many movies, been on television shows, had his own with Martha Stewart,
Martha
and you can
Stewart.
tell that, that she's been high with him, which is a lot to think. Martha showing the fountain of youth there, but is with grave concern that Snoop Dogg has given up weed. He says, after much consideration and conversation with my family, I decided to give up smoke. He wrote this on Instagram. He also said, please respect my privacy at this time. Now, when I hear this, guys, I'm thinking, oh no, there's something wrong with his lungs. There's something wrong with his body. Too much smoke over the years. And I've known people that have done it for years, and I guess it'll finally hit them. But I just wonder, guys, you know, this is something he's always been familiar with and we've seen him do. Chris, do you have any thoughts about this? Do you have any concerns for Snoop Dogg?
I don't know about concerns, but maybe my family kind of mentioned it too, that it could be some family wanted him to stop or something. I don't know, but it's not like him, and I hope it's not anything health related, but you never know. And I don't know if it's going to be long time or temporary, but we'll just see how it goes, I guess.
I wanted to see this topic go off because I know some people are familiar with it, some people aren't, and it's amazing to think though. Snoop Dogg is 50 years old, by the way. Like, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that at all. But he once said that he smoked 81 joints a day, and he has a
Wow.
personal blunt roller. So that tells me he really paid for it, literally and figuratively. And then at the 2021 MTV Movie Awards, he was smoking a joint while walking the red carpet. They are in California, so there you go. Dragon Viper, do you have any concerns or comments on this story?
Oh, I know back in the I believe early 2000s, he went to rehab to stop,
Wow.
and so he stopped for a very short time and started again. Now my thing is it going to be a repeated process? Is he going to stop for a short time and then continue it again, or is that's it? I'm done, no more. So time will tell at this point. But in my mind right now, I think it's just a quit for a short time and then back to back to it. So
So this is a wrestling comment. A group, tag team called the Street Profits. Their slogan is "We want the smoke," and then Snoop Dogg says, "I pass."
And thank God you said that because I would have no clue. Watch Beyond the Rope, Between the
Between the
Ropes. Excuse
yeah.
me. I'm beyond the ropes. I'm not even in the building. So yeah, thank you, Chris, for reading that
Yeah.
in that form because I wouldn't have understood it. Yeah. Put on whatever comments we have. We'll read them all, of course. Another story that really hit home, at least for me, get that Home Alone. Macaulay Culkin finally being honored with a Hollywood milestone. He's getting a star on the Walk of Fame. He is now will be the 2,765th star in total so far. Think about that. There's a lot of streets in Hollywood, a lot of them dirty, but the stars shine bright no matter what. Believe me, I've been there. Macaulay Culkin is really known for playing Kevin in Home Alone 1, Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. I vaguely, I remember both. I don't have a personal favorite, but it'll be Friday, December 1st is when he'll get that star on the Walk of Fame. Catherine O'Hara, who was, of course, the mom of Kevin in those movies, will be there. Natasha Lyonne will be a speaker as well. So it's a really great milestone. When you think about it's almost like a Hall of Fame nod, if you think sports wise. Of course, I can remember him in My Girl. That was such a damn sad movie, with him
Uncle
dying.
Buck.
Yeah, and then the good side was Uncle Buck with him asking all those questions to John Candy. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. Richie Rich. I loved that movie because I wanted my own McDonald's in my big ass mansion in the basketball court. So I wanted to be just like him, no doubt about it. American Horror Story, The Righteous Gemstones, along with some voice work. I think he's married, to Brenda Song since 2017.
Mhm.
They have a son named Dakota. They got engaged back in 2022. So Chris, I'll ask you, what's your sentiment here with Macaulay Culkin finally getting a star finally on the Walk of Fame in Hollywood?
I mean, he deserves it. He's been doing acting since in the 90s or something. For a long time, I don't know. I think he deserves it. He's been doing it for a while, and he'll get what he. Well, I can't speak. what he deserves. Coming in a few weeks.
Yeah, same question, Dragon Viper. I know he was out of acting for a while. You always see him in the tabloids, very skinny, smoking a cigarette. And that's pretty much it. But it's good that he's getting honored for, what he's done. He's a pioneer, I think, when it comes to child actors. And Brendan Herrera says, can Dragon Viper name another movie other from Home Alone? And I
Yeah.
just did.
Yeah. I mean, you have Page Master. You have The Good Son, and Getting Even with Dad, and he's been in a lot of movies. So he deserves it. He deserves to be honored for that. A great, great kid actor. And if I were asked, which Macaulay Culkin movie was my favorite, I couldn't pick one because, I've seen so many of his that it would be difficult. So, yeah, great honor for him. Wonderful actor.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just happy for him. I think it's an accomplishment that finally he's finally getting the nod from, I should say. So let's move on to something I always like bringing up because it shows that hey, we're watching something. We're just not doing this to just read off the phone. We're actually watching stuff. We're either playing games, we're listening to a new song, or going back in time since the actor strike, ended. There's no new sitcoms, but there's always old sitcoms, and I'll get to mine soon. But we're gonna preview or recap something we watched. Now, for me, you guys might not know this or may laugh at this at all the other audience people we have, but I started to watch Laverne and Shirley like I think three days ago. I think I'm on the second season. I want to say the third episode, and I think I relate to Laverne more than Shirley, but I don't know why. I got so intrigued by watching like little clips here and there, and then I found an app that has it, and for some reason I just started to watch it, and I just like the physical comedy of it. Like these women were out here doing their own stunts on set. It was crazy to think. Like, and this was what 1978. There was, I think, 76, 70, yeah, 76. It lasted 8 seasons. Of course, it was Cindy Williams as Shirley, Penny Marshall as Laverne. You have Lenny and Squiggy. Yeah, Squiggy. Among other, Carmine. Penny Marshall's dad was actually in this, I believe. But I just thought it was a fun show to watch. As I've been just trying to go back in time because I don't really watch anything new. So that's mine. Chris, have you watched or want to see anything coming out?
Not really. I might go back and watch The Office because I haven't seen that in a while, and maybe I haven't remembered much of it. But I also heard that I think Tim Allen, they're trying to work on a reboot of Home Improvement or something about it, but
Wow,
it's not set in stone yet. But they're talking
now
about it.
that's interesting because they sort of did that with Last Man Standing, but instead of sons, it was daughters.
Right.
It was a new, a different wife, different friends, different job. But I really enjoyed both of those shows, and almost anything Tim Allen did, I think I really liked. I really enjoyed. Dragon Viper. I almost called you Dragon Master. That would have been wrong. Your name's right on the thing. What's something you watched lately, or something that you can preview that you want to see?
I actually ended up watching Five Nights at Freddy's. I was not I don't know if it's because I'm not into that kind of thing. You know, I never was. My daughter was, but I never got into it. And I was told to go ahead and watch it, you know, just to, you know, just watch it. So I did. I wasn't real too impressed with it. I mean, I've had people tell me that, you know, that it was a good movie and it was great, but I don't know. I wasn't too impressed. I mean, animatronics and you know, being at this restaurant overnight and these animatronic animals come alive and kill people and stuff like that. I don't know. I never was into the video games for it, you know, and stuff. So maybe it's the fact I have a closed mind when it comes to that game or movie, but yeah, I wasn't too impressed about it.
Yeah, I shun a lot of things. So that would probably be one of them. But if I was convinced, I would watch it. I feel like guys.
Brandon's
Oh
saying
yeah,
he wants a reboot of Family Matters.
you know I'm kind of shocked that hasn't been done yet. But maybe oh I forget the man who played Urkel. We know that he really controls it.
Jaleel White.
That there you go. That's why you're here. Jaleel White. I forgot all about it. I forgot his name. But we all knew he had an ego. You know, when you're the star of the show, it's hard to come back. You know, from that. So, I could definitely see that happening, Brandon. I wouldn't mind. Well, I know there's been Fuller House, with the
Yeah.
women, you know, growing up and having their own daughters. I would guess.
It wasn't the
The
full
Columbus.
cast, but yeah.
Right. What I would, well, you probably couldn't do it because there's so many kids, but a step-by-step reboot would be cool. I would enjoy that. They could really honor Suzanne Summers that way. But it'd be hard to get all those kids together because I think there was like 8 or whatever it was, or 7. I can't recall, but that's one of my
Yeah, there
favorite
was
shows.
7.
See, that's why you're here too. So let's go into the present now, and talk about some new movies or shows or whatever else coming up on the apps. I think we mentioned last week The Killer was Netflix movie out there, a crime thriller happening with Michael Fassbender being the star of that movie. So check that out. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Shamik Moore headlines that with Haley Steinfeld. I know her from something, but I can't tell. But that's a good animation movie from what I hear.
That's what I heard.
Nidad. Yeah. Nidad is a drama with Jodie Foster and Annette Bening. Those are 2 legendary names, no doubt about that. Insidious, The Red Door. That's a horror film. Ty Simpkins, Patrick Wilson, Royce Byrne. I don't know how I got that wrong, but check that out if you like some horror films. Maybe I'll do that just to torture myself later. Pain Hustlers in 2023. Emily Blunt, Chris Evans, Catherine O'Hara. That seems like a very interesting movie there. So check that out if you like those folks. I think a movie we talked about last week was Fool's Paradise. Charlie Day, Ken Jeong, and Kate Beckinsale, who doesn't say a word, among others, is in that comedy. A Haunting in Venice. Now, this one is a mystery thriller crime, and it has one of my favorite people of all time in it, Tina Fey. She's just great to me, so check that one out if you like her stuff. Quiz Lady is a comedy. If you ever, and we'll talk about quiz show, game shows coming up, but this has Aquafina and Sandra Oh and Will Ferrell. I might actually check this out. It's a comedy movie about 2 women who team up to make the money back the best way they know how from the game show circuit. So that could be very interesting if they, you know, answers wrong and they blow their chances. Just find out. Tune in. Susie Searches is a comedy, thriller, mystery. Jim Gaffin is someone who I know from that, a comedian. And then my on the Peacock app is my Big Fat Greek Wedding 3. Yes, there's been 2 more from the original. I didn't know. So if you like the other 2, you'll like that one, I'm sure. Five Nights at Freddy, like we mentioned, that one. If you like the old video games and the Chuck E. Cheese franchise, or if it terrifies you, don't watch. But there's one. Now, I did see this, guys. The Will Ferrell, Jamie Foxx, Will Forte movie called Strays. It's about dogs, and they could talk and they can certainly curse.
That one has Snoop Dogg in it. I know that much.
Somehow I missed that. I was watching. Oh, I don't know how I didn't see
in
that.
for that one.
Yeah, so that's Strays. So if the kids aren't around, or if you could listen on your, earphones, check that out. Yeah, make sure the kids aren't around. Even though it's dogs, their minds will be rotten, basically. So, Chris, any of these movies intrigue you that you want to see?
Probably Strays. I like comedy movies like that, and it kind of brings you back to like Ted and Ted 2 and all that.
I could see that.
So, something similar like that, but we'll go with Strays.
So, Dragon Viper, you see any movies you would want to see from this list here?
No, I'm not real. Yeah, I didn't see anything that I'd be interested in for this week.
I feel like I'm the same. There's a couple of things I would watch, but then some I'm like, I can kind of go away from. Yeah. So let's get to our top 10 list. If the Late Show or Late Night with David Letterman can have his in the past, we can have this one on Entertainment Network. That's where I kind of got the idea from. I won't have the annoying laugh though. But here we go. So the list this week is top 10 of your favorite game shows. Now, this could be really anything. New, old, ones you grew up with, the ones going on now that you just found out about, old ones you saw on the Game Show Network. I know there's some we'll probably hit on, we'll match. Probably some we won't, and it would be my fault. So let's get to my list really quick. Supermarket Sweep is definitely my number one. And I know they brought it back, but I didn't watch any shows of that because it would ruin the shows back in the 90s and I believe early 2000s. But I loved watching that show for some reason. Maybe it was because it was food, but food and drink. But I don't know why. I would come home from school every day and be on like my local PAX network or something, and I would get intrigued for an hour. I'd watch it. I'd be like trying to guess the certain products. They would scramble the words, and then there would be trivia questions about certain products. Which I guess I'm good at. But then these people had to go out. They had a time limit to go get the most, expensive food products and do it in a timely fashion while going through a grocery store with a cart. And you would see people, random, Judy or Philip, fill their cart up with turkeys, whatever they could. That would be the most. They bring it into the check stand, and whoever made the most would, win the super round. So I always remember that. That was always fun to me.
It's like Guys Grocery Games without the cooking.
I didn't think about that. Yeah, that's true. And then Jeopardy for me, it was always a thing in my household. My mom would watch it no matter what. And when I had one TV back then at the old apartment, I would try to watch something, but it would have to be after 7:30 because that was Jeopardy time between 7:30 and 8. It was like, no, we're gonna watch this. We're gonna act like we know the answer and shout it out after the person says it. And most of the time, for me, it was the wrong answer. But I learned a lot, though. I did learn a lot, like stuff that we'll never need to know about, like history and geography. I've lost some of it, but some of it I know. And then there was Sports Jeopardy, and there's been many varieties of it. Varieties.
Rock and Roll Jeopardy.
Yeah. There was one that Dan Patrick hosted. I want to say
Sports Jeopardy.
6-7 years ago of Sports Jeopardy. Some radio shows do it still. But since I know a lot about sports, I think that's why I kind of watched that. Wheel of Fortune was always before or after Jeopardy, so I love puzzles and I love trying to guess things. So I loved that show.
Still on.
Yeah, and I'm never really home when they're on because of work or Monday Night Football or something, Thursday Night Football. So usually I'm not watching it, but from time to time, if I have time, I will tune in and try to guess something randomly. Of course, we've seen, and this applies to some of my shows I still have on the list, where we've seen biggest fails. And if you ever want to laugh, or if you're ever feeling down, or feel like you don't know anything, or you feel like you're stupid, like go on YouTube, put on like the Wheel of Fortune fails or Jeopardy fails. You're gonna have a fun time with that, seeing somebody else fail. You'll love that. Pictionary. This right now is hosted, I think, by Jerry O'Connell, the new shows. But I remember watching it in the 90s in LA, and I love just guessing things, certain designs or whatever, and trying to figure out certain, because they can't use words, they can't say anything. So I really enjoyed Pictionary. I still do. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire when Regis Philbin hosted? I remember watching that every day or every night it was on. It's also, something you get for, at least it's multiple choice. I think we all love multiple choice. At least I do. And I just loved knowing stuff. And that was one thing I can get from. It's like, hey, seeing the lifelines, seeing the contestants, taking risks or just leaving with the money they have, phone a friend. I always love that. So that was great to me. The Weakest Link, when the woman hosted it, I really enjoyed that because that was a fast-paced, banking money game show on NBC back then.
They revived it.
Yeah, and then one dude hosted it as well after. I really enjoyed watching that. I mean, I put down whatever I did before I had a smartphone, I think, and watched that a lot. Family Feud, all the variations, all the different hosts. I really enjoyed that. For some reason, I really enjoyed Louis Anderson hosting it. I don't know. Hey, let's play the feud. And you can barely understand him, but there was, Richard Dawson, Richard Karn hosted it. Al from Home Improvement.
Yeah.
And of course, what I hear at the retirement home in almost every door I go by, there's Family Food on 24 hours a day, so I hear all about it. Hey, player, let's play Family Feud. So, I hear Steve Harvey all the time. What you say? What? There's all these different things.
I like his expressions sometimes.
That's what pays him the money. Or else he would be Mr. Potato Head, just expressionless. Yeah. Win Ben Stein's Money. This was one of my favorite shows back in the day. And a lot of stuff I didn't get at the time. I was just answering the questions. But for some reason, I really enjoyed that program back then. And my mom let me watch it back then. She didn't let me watch the Man Show, of course. That was totally different. But
Sure.
Win Ben Stein's Money was something I really enjoyed, and I think Jimmy Kimmel was the co-host of that. So
Really?
uh,
I don't remember
I don't know
that.
where to find it, but I know it was on Comedy Central back in the day, and I really enjoyed that. And then last one for me would be a show called Sports Challenge. It was one on ESPN Classic a long time ago, or actually, I think it was based in the '80s or the late '70s. Dick Enberg would host it, and they would basically go back in time. They would have three athletes from one team, each team go at it, and just try to remember moments and what happened in that key moment. And I just grew up with that, watching ESPN Classic, and I want to find it somewhere, but those are my shows. Chris, let's start with your top 10 favorite game shows of all. Your top 10 favorite.
Oh man, I got maybe about 12, but I'll go with 10.
I had 11.
So my first one would have to be Card Sharks. You know, they had the cards up and they're like you can get
Yeah.
higher or lower. My second one would be Double Dare, kind of going back to
Yes.
childhood. You could do the Double Dare 2000, whichever variation of it. There's another show, kind of like Millionaire, but they called it Greed, where it's almost like you played it as a team, but at the end it was more individual.
That sounds so
I think
familiar.
it was. Password.
Yes.
That was a very popular
Mhm.
game. It was almost like one person would have the word, and then you'd have to guess the word without saying the word.
We should do that. We should have something like that.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
You kind of had an ESPN show, sports one, so I got Stump the Swab.
Oh my God! Why didn't I put that in? I totally forgot. I used to watch that all the time. Oh,
Sports
duh.
trivia. When I was little, I didn't really understand it. Now I probably would if I could find the answers, or the show.
I didn't even think about that, Chris. Oh my goodness.
You talked about earlier Jeopardy. You also had the original, I guess, Wordle game Lingo.
I never
If
heard
you
about
played,
that.
it's kind of like Wordle, but or those word games where you figure out what the word is, and Price is Right, Real Fortune, and you kind of alluded to off and on tonight, Hollywood Squares.
Oh, yeah. That was big in my growing up.
I watched, what was it, 2 different variations of it,
Yep.
probably. And then we'll go Match Game.
Oh,
Where they
there
had
we
the
go.
celebrities and you had to kind of guess what they said.
Guys, my favorite Jeopardy, because it was kind of easier questions, was Celebrity Jeopardy. Just because it was easier questions. Somebody always had a problem with their buzzer not working.
I don't know. One celebrity this past week didn't work out too well. So.
Oh, that's right. You told us about that.
Yeah.
Dragon Viper, I'm really interested to hear yours.
All right. So I'm going to start off with Press Your Luck.
Yeah.
The 83 to 86.
I had that too. Yeah.
With Peter Tamarkin. I thought that was an awesome show.
They also had a variation called Whammy.
Yeah, but with Press Your Luck, you have the whammies, and I always like those characters. Then of course one of my mom's favorite, Hollywood Squares. I like the 98 to 04 version of it.
Yes.
And then Jeopardy with Alex Trebek.
Definitely.
And then Wheel of Fortune. Supermarket Sweep, and I like the 90 through 95 version.
There you go.
So I can't remember the guy's name, but I like that version of it.
I should know
The
that.
Price is Right. The Price is Right with Bob Barker. It's not The Price is Right. Well, I don't feel it is anymore.
No, you're right.
Kind of the same, yeah.
But I don't feel it is because Bob Barker's not there. So, and then the $100,000 Pyramid,
Mm-hmm.
the 1991 version, because
That's
they
the
had
one
other
with Strahan.
variations like $10,000 and all that, 20,000. But I actually like the $100,000 one. Then American Gladiators, 1989 to 1996 version. And always watched that as a kid.
I did too.
Are
really
You
play as a
Smarter
kid.
Than a Fifth Grader with Jeff Foxworthy. I always enjoyed watching that show and thinking how it's funny these kids are, doing better than the adults. And the last one is Who Wants to Be a Millionaire with Regis Philbin.
There we go. It seems like we all matched at least something.
Yeah.
Of each other's. And then the game show host, David Rupred, was the host of Supermarket Sweep back in that between 90 and 95 version. I guess I caught it on the rebound on Lifetime and PAX Network.
Yeah, because it was on Lifetime when I did watch it.
Yes, I did watch Lifetime.
Well, I'm saying I did too. Just for that.
Only
show.
for that. Only for that and the naughty teachers or whatever. Anywho, let's get to our trivia portion of the show. Yes. We'll have 3 questions each. And this will be fun, of course. We all love trivia, I think, and it showed with our game shows, no doubt about it. I'll start off with you, Dragon Viper. What's the name of Jeff Goldblum's character in Jurassic Park? Is it A, Dr. Ian Malcolm, B, Dr. Malcolm Stevens, C, Dr. Evan Malcolm, or D, Dr. Mike and Ian?
Oh my God. I believe it's shoot. I forgot what letter you said, but I think it's Ian Malcolm.
Final answer?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with it.
You got that right. You pulled that out of who knows where. You got.
I used to watch that, a lot. So
I don't remember it. Like I seen it one time way back then, and that's the only guy that I recognize from it. To be honest with you,
I watched it a lot.
Now he sells apartments, from what I've seen. Crispy bacon. So yeah, Dragon Viper's up 1-0. What's the highest grossing movie of all time? A, Titanic, B, Avatar, C, Avengers Endgame, or D, Star Wars The Force Awakens?
Well, just based on that list, I'm going to go Avatar.
You got that right. We have a tied game. My goodness. All right. Let's see. This feels like we're doing 4 brothers right here, and I'm Jason running through the questions. All right. Let's go with Dragon Viper here. What are the names of the 2 people behind Ghostface in the movie Scream? A, Billy and Steve. B, Bobby and Stu. C, Bobby and Steve. Or D, Billy and Stu.
That would be Billy and Stu.
He's just a machine. That's all this.
Wow.
I'm a big fan of the first 3 Scream movies. So.
I've never seen them. I swear to you right now, I've never seen any of them. All right, Chris, let me ask you this one, as it's a 2-1 game. Who plays the convenience store clerk scene at the beginning of Juno? Is it A, Bill Hader, B, Rainn Wilson, C, Andy Samberg, or D, Jonah Hill?
I'm gonna go Andy Samberg.
Oh, unfortunately, it was Rainn Wilson. So we'll go to Dragon Viper here. True or false? The first Academy Awards were handed out in 1925.
Dang, that's a hard one. I want to say false.
False? Yeah, that's true. Or that's the answer, I should say. The correct answer. It's funny, we were talking about that, remember last week, that documentary about that theater first opening up in Hollywood.
Oh, yeah.
This is it. This is actually it, where the first Academy Awards were. So he got that. Crispy Bacon, just for fun, what was the highest grossing movie of 2005? Was it War of the Worlds, Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, or D, The Chronicles of Narnia, the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe? I've never seen any of these.
I'm gonna go Star Wars.
Unfortunately, it's Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. I think that was probably the third one or the second one. I've never seen any of them. But yeah, that was a great trivia question portion of the show. Now, you want to do one more just for fun?
Sure.
All right, I'm going to ask you, Dragon Viper, when was the first Mission Impossible movie released? Was it 93, 96, 97, or 99?
Oh, dang. What were the choices again?
1993, 1996, 1997, or 1999? The first Mission Impossible movie released.
No, I'm going to go with 96.
Absolute machine. Yes, that's the correct answer. All right. Chris, we'll end it on this. What movie has a famous quote from You Can't Handle the Truth? Was it A, Training Day, B, Saving Private Ryan, C, A Few Good Men, or D, Armageddon?
I know this one.
Can you repeat the choices one more time?
Armageddon, A Few Good Men. Just we'll do like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? We'll do 50-50. So it's between Armageddon and A Few Good Men.
A Few Good Men.
Yeah, you got that. Jack Nicholson is the one who says that. I think Tom Cruise. Yeah, Tom Cruise is, I think, on trial, I want to say, or something. I haven't seen it, but I think that's a familiar quote. You know, everybody tried to do back then. Everybody had a Jack Nicholson impression. I don't think I do.
Handle the truth.
All right, so I think we'll end it here. We had a good time on this entertainment hour. We have any more comments, Chris?
We got some about the game shows. Christy Wilson saying that her match game was with Gene Rayburn was awesome.
I never heard of him, but he must have been the host.
He was. I believe he was. Double Dare was such a good show.
Was that the one with the slime? Or am I tripping?
Yes.
No, you're not.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. I didn't see.
Yeah, it was with the slime.
There's a benefit when you stop smoking weed, like Snoop Dogg has done.
And then one more. Have you guys watched Classic
Concentration?
You know what? I think when I watched a YouTube video, a tribute to all the shows Alec Trebek did in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and even some in the 90s, he didn't just do Jeopardy. I think that was one show that came up. I would have to go back and watch that, but I think I've seen that in that tribute video. I just couldn't believe how many daytime shows he hosted back in the 70s and even in the 80s. But he's well known just for Jeopardy. But there were so many he did before, and I miss that man so much. When I see the new Jeopardy, it doesn't hit the same really.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Jeopardy isn't normal anymore. The Price is Right isn't normal anymore because
Fortune
aren't
won't
there.
be next year.
Always
Pat Sajak's
Pat
retiring.
Sajak.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
see that.
And he's being replaced by Ryan Seacrest.
Oh.
Really?
Yes,
Does he still have his radio show, I wonder?
I think so.
I know it's like
I know
the popular pop station has it or something.
I know he does American Idol.
He still does that?
Yes.
Man.
He,
Of
he
course,
did,
we
he did the morning talk show, but I don't think
Right.
he's there anymore.
on air with Ryan Seacrest. Anyway, we remember him, of course, from his blooper of trying to give a blind kid a high five at American Idol tryouts. So I think we remember Seacrest
I don't
mostly for
remember
that.
I actually remember Ryan Seacrest from MTV.
No, I don't remember that.
That's how old I am. I remember watching
Didn't
him
he
on
do a
MTV.
show on MTV? I thought. I don't know. Maybe.
I do not remember. We had some good banter talk there. I was hoping to get the show close to an hour, and well, we're not there, but that's okay. Blah blah blah. Chris, what's your final thoughts on tonight's show?
That was a good show. We had similar topic or similar game shows on the top 10 list, and I thought all the topics were good. We'll just see how the journey with Snoop Dogg goes.
And unfortunately, we had to start with some sad topics, but then we got into some, odd stories and good stories. Dragon Viper, what's your final thoughts?
I just want to thank everyone for watching and leaving all your comments. And I hope everybody has a good night. And I'm about ready for bed.
Don't let Groundhog Day happen to you, where you wake up to the same Sonny and Cher song every day.
Yeah, no. Today would be a bad day for that. It will.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
They say we're young and we don't know.
Yeah. This ain't no groundhog.
Yeah. Hey, great show, guys. Of course, we should be back on Black Friday. Hopefully, we'll all be here, and we won't get trampled by people trying to buy certain big TVs or whatever the case is.
I gotta work, so it doesn't matter to me.
Me too. Same thing. I think DVDs are going to be gone next year. I want to say so.
At least from Best Buy, I heard.
That's right. So hey, if you want to save some money and don't want to buy apps or whatever, just stock up on DVDs, or wherever you find them. That was a weird promo to get out of here, wasn't it? Anyway, thank you for watching the Entertainment Hour. Be sure to watch all the programs on Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. Follow, subscribe on all the social media platforms, as well as YouTube here. Crispy Biggin, I think we're gonna have 4 Bros coming up soon, right?
I think it's next. I think it's on Monday. We're gonna have it again.
Oh, what was the show on Friday nights? I'm so confused.
No, you were right. 4 Bros usually is on Monday or Fridays. Monday.
Oh, they moved it. Okay.
No.
I don't know anything about this network, even though I'm on it right now. We'll see you next time on Entertainment Hour. Goodbye, folks, and keep shining. The stars are bright, even at night.